If I had my life to live over again, I would have made a rule to read some poetry and listen to some music at least once every week. I see no good reasons why the views given in this volume should shock the religious views of anyone. A man who dares to waste 1 hour of time has not discovered the value of life. Man in his arrogance thinks himself a great work worthy of the interposition of a deity, more humble, and I believe truer, to consider him created from animals. If the misery of the poor is caused not by the laws of nature, but by our institutions, great is our sin. Freedom of thought is best promoted by the gradual illumination of men's minds, which follows from the advance of science. We stopped looking for monsters under our bed when we realized that they were inside us. There is no fundamental difference between man and animals in their ability to feel pleasure and pain, happiness and misery. The love for all living creatures is the noblest attribute of man. To kill an error is as good a service as, and sometimes even better than, the establishing of a new truth or fact. I am not apt to follow blindly the lead of other men. The mystery of the beginning of all things is insoluble by us, and I for one must be content to remain an agnostic. It is always advisable to perceive clearly our ignorance. We are not here concerned with hopes or fears, only with the truth, as far as our reason permits us to discover it. The highest possible stage in moral culture is when we recognize that we ought to control our thoughts. We are always slow in admitting any great change of which we do not see the intermediate steps. Blushing is the most peculiar and most human of all expressions. The very essence of instinct is that it's followed independently of reason. Intelligence is based on how efficient a species became at doing the things they need to survive. A scientific man ought to have no wishes, no affections, a mere heart of stone. One general law leading to the advancement of all organic beings, namely, multiply, vary, let the strongest life and the weakest die. Natural selection almost inevitably causes much extinction of the less improved forms of life and induces what I have called divergence of character. Besides love and sympathy, animals exhibit other qualities, connected with the social instincts, which in us would be called moral. A fair result can be obtained only by fully stating and balancing the facts and arguments on both sides of each question. Man selects only for his own good, nature only for that of the being which she tends. Great is the power of steady misrepresentation. Ignorance more frequently begets confidence than does knowledge. It is difficult to believe in the dreadful, but quiet war lurking just below the serene facade of nature. Englishmen rarely cry, except under the pressure of the acutest grief, whereas in some parts of the continent, the men shed tears much more readily and freely. Our descent, then, is the origin of our evil passions. The devil in form of baboon is our grandfather. It is necessary to look forward to a harvest, however distant that may be, when some fruit will be reaped, some good affected. The limit of man knowledge in any subject possesses a high interest, which is perhaps increased by its close neighborhood to the realms of imagination. Such simple instincts as bees making, a beehive could be sufficient to overthrow my whole theory. Origin of man now proved, metaphysics must flourish. He who understands baboon would do more towards metaphysics than Locke. A naked man on a naked horse is a fine spectacle. I had no idea how well the two animals suited each other. Share secrets with those who have no friends, and be friends only with those who have many friends.